In this video, I'm going to show you how to install a ceiling fan. Always shut off the breaker before handling electrical wires. First step is to make sure your wires are bare and stripped on the ends. If you have several wires coming together, just keep them close by. You will put a wire nut on them when you install the fan. First step is to get your mounting bracket and pass the existing wires through the center hole. You will then need to line up your through holes to the existing holes in your ceiling box. So I'm going to do that like this. Then put in both screws. You can quickly make these up with a drill, but don't torque them down with the drill because you might strip them. Finish torquing them down with a Phillips screwdriver. It's pulling up on the drywall, so be very careful. Once the upper bracket is secure, you will then need to wire nut all your wires together. So the red wire is typically the hot line. This will connect to your black wire from the house, and then your neutral wire, which is white, will connect to your neutrals from the house. If you have a bunch of these, you will need to use a larger wire nut. To attach all these together in the wire nut, I'm going to get the correct size nut and put them in first like this and start twisting, making sure they're all equally inside. It should start getting snug after a few turns. Then you will need to connect your hot wires together. You could use a smaller nut since I'm only using 2 wires. After you have secured the wire nuts, it's best to put the fan on and do a quick test. I'm just going to let it hang here and turn on the power and make sure this spins correctly. Once you know your fan is working, you can then turn it off, throw your breaker, and then you will need to remove this. Once you have removed the fan again, it's time to put insulating tape around here. You're gonna put it around the entire wire nut like this, pulling tight to make sure it's secure. Then just cut it loose. Same for the other one. After you have taped them, you need to shove them back inside the junction box, being careful not to bend them too sharply. Once you have the wires back in the junction box, you can return putting your fan back on. I'm just going to hang it here because I also need to put in the ground wire. So make sure it's secure. I'm just going to put it right here. This goes directly into the junction box, and the junction box is grounded. So I know there's a full grounded circuit. If you want to be extra safe, you can scratch the surface of this side of the paint to make sure the wire is making direct contact. It does make contact through the screw. I'm going to put my wire right here and wrap it around the screw so it makes a loop. That way when I turn it clockwise, it'll continue to spin it around. And it'll fan out and pull it in like that. Now you have a secure connection. On my fan, I need to connect these two together, but before I do that, I'm going to put the fan securely in here so it doesn't fall out. And push any excess wire up to the top. Then I'm going to get the screws that secure it right here and just start hand tightening them. Once you have hand tightened these, you can then use your screwdriver or drill and finish torquing them down. At this point, I'm going to remove these screws right here along the outside of the fan. I've just set the screws aside for later. Now I'm going to get the light piece and take off these screws along the sides. Now I'm going to connect these wires together. So the blue from the fan, I'm going to connect to the black right here, and the white goes to the white. I'm going to put all these wires in here like this. I line up these holes that are on the light piece with the holes on the mounting fixture right here. Make sure I line up this little cutout with where the switch is so it'll fit correctly. Once you have them in, torque them down with the screwdriver. Now, I'm going to loosen this screw right here and completely remove this screw. The same on the other side as well. The way this works is one screw will sit in this little hook. Same for the other side right here. And once you get it up in there, you're going to twist this and it'll be locked in place. Then you just secure the second screw on each side and then tighten them all down, and this will be secured. Now it's time to attach the mounting bracket to each fan blade. To do this, you will need to decide which color you want to face downward. This part of the bracket faces downward. So depending on how you orient the blade, a different color will be displayed downward. So if I want brown facing downward, I would install it like this. Then I will get each of these little screws and these little washers and install them like this. You need to do this to every single fan blade now. Now it's time to install the fan blades to the fan. What I've done is put them on my ladder right here, ready. I have my drill ready as well. I have positioned the ladder just to the side of the fan. That way, when I put the drill up directly underneath there, the ladder won't interfere. Now put in the light bulbs and install the glass cover. It's just going to slide over this rod right here. Now it's time to test out the fan. I'm going to start out at low speed and move up to high speed. Pay attention for any wobble. It's best to look right here because this is the furthest away from the wall, so it'll be most apparent right here. Mine's moving about 1/16 of an inch or less, which is acceptable. You don't want any excessive movement right here because it'll eventually cause the box up there to separate from the joist if it's not secured correctly, and the whole fan can come tumbling down. If this is moving a lot like this, shut the fan down and then you will need to balance the fan. In this video, I showed you how to install a ceiling fan. If this was helpful for you, please like and subscribe.